Howdy, Jordan Sheridan live. Status Coup. It is, what the hell day is it? Wednesday? Thursday? I don't even know. Wednesday, October the 29th, the year 2025, in the United Corporations of America, joined by Zaina Day, the incredible journalist friend and the author of Bullhorn Bulletin. A great Substack, which you all should subscribe to. You just broke a great story about another, shall we say, air quotes, progressive consulting firm making bank off of candidates like John Fetterman. So definitely everybody should go to your Substack, read up all about that. I think you got 100 new members off of that one piece. So maybe if there's time, we could touch on it a little bit later. But I don't even know where to start because I had stories planned, and then I saw a story that I don't really see out there much about an ICE prisoner who was paralyzed and brain damaged in an ICE prison, and his family couldn't find him, and now he has died. And we're left with quite a lot of questions as to what happened to him. I could think of some things that made a young man die. So we'll get to that. There's also the ongoing terror campaign that is Trump, ICE, Border Patrol, and now it seems that the terror we've been showing you for over a month on the ground in Chicago, that's not enough for Trump and his Joseph Goebbels, Stephen Miller. So now they are purging ICE leadership and installing Border Patrol to be even more aggressive and more terroristic in places like Chicago. We'll get into that. Also, Trump is now enlisting the Navy to build more ICE prisons around the country. So that's all you're going to have in America: AI data centers and ICE prisons. So buckle up. And if we have time, the AI Armageddon, the AI apocalypse is here. UPS just laid off 48,000 people. Amazon trying to lay off 30,000, and many other companies now laying off thousands of workers due to AI. And what is Congress doing? Nothing.
Nothing.
Congress isn't even in session.
The big beautiful bill says we can't regulate it for 10 years, Jordan.
Correct. So smash that like button, share this live stream. I will remind you, and I will pump my chest. Well, it's not my chest because I'm not there. We have been on the ground in Chicago and the greater Chicagoland area for over a month. Full transparency, because I crunched the numbers earlier and I almost had a heart attack. We spent nearly $10,000 on the ground over the last month in Chicago. Not at a casino, doing actual living, breathing, investigative justice journalism. It is incredibly expensive, and I'm going to repeat this over and over throughout the show. It's incredibly expensive to do this work. That's why we're pretty much one of the only ones, corporate or independent, and we are independent doing it. We want to stay in Chicago. John Farina is still there. JT went home, spent some days with his newborn. He'll be back this weekend. It's expensive. The hotels for a month, flights, back and forth, food, just safety equipment so that when we're tear gassed, we can breathe, because JT and John have both been tear gassed by the ICE and Border Patrol multiple times. That's expensive. Last minute equipment. It all costs a lot of money. And we use freelancers. We used other freelancers when JT and John couldn't be there.
We also have to have extra equipment on the ground because things are getting nasty, like you said, with tear gas and everything else. Our journalists have to be protected.
And we're not staying at like the Four Seasons. We're staying at modest hotels. We're not going out for lavish steak dinners, but it adds up. I mean, just think a hotel right now, an average hotel, if you're lucky, you could find something for like $100, $120. Times that, 2 rooms, times 30. That's before you get to flights. That's before you get to food. That's before you get to a car, gas. So please, a lot of outlets talk. We're walking the walk here. So if you can, support us, statuscoup.com/join. And I do see a lot of comments, by the way. Hey, I want to support you. I'm just waiting on my next check, or I can't right now, but maybe next month. Totally cool. If you can't support us right now, I get it. It's tough times. But if you can, for as low as $5 a month. And we just redid our members page. So it's a lot easier, and we have different plans. StatusCoup.com/join. All right. I want to start before we came on breaking news, because kind of what's been hovering, Zaina, around the Chicago invasion is the Supreme Court possibly overruling the lower courts. And because the lower courts have blocked Trump from sending in the National Guard to Chicago. And we've expected that the Supreme Court is going to rule with Trump. Well, now, the Supreme Court has asked the parties in the National Guard case in Chicago, meaning the state of Illinois and the Trump administration, to file new briefs by November 10th. So that is a little over a week from now, answering a question about, quote, regular forces of the United States military. So no ruling on Trump's request for a stay is imminent. I will read this. The application for stay presented to Justice Barrett is referred by her to the court. The parties are directed to file supplemental letter briefs addressing the following question: whether the term, quote, regular forces referred to the regular forces of the United States military, and if so, how that interpretation affects the operation of 10 USC. The rest is just a bunch of legalese. So, Zaina, if you ask me how I interpret that, I think they are just kind of kicking the can down the road. I think that they are probably going to rule in favor of Trump, just like the Western courts have, because they ruled in favor of Trump, which I was surprised by, to allow the National Guard into Portland. And that's scary, because the terror we're seeing, and we have clips we're going to show you guys of our latest on-the-ground reporting. And by the way, JT Siskowski, John Farina, our journalists on the ground, have broken more stories than all of the national media and all the local media combined in just like 3 or 4 days. It's really remarkable. I'm very, very proud to have them on our team. But if the terror we're seeing now is without the National Guard, I don't even want to know what it's going to look like if they send in the National Guard.
And I just want to remind everyone that when the first 3 executive orders rolled out, it's just getting right up to the 90-day mark on the first executive order to send troops into LA. And all of these executive orders extended 90 days because of federal legislation. So what this stay is basically saying is, what happens after the 90 days? Are they going to get a stay? Is he going to be able to continue to do this? And this is something that Jordan and I warned about when these executive orders rolled out, that something will likely be coming out of the gate in 90 days, that this isn't a temporary endeavor at all. So that's what we're seeing, unfortunately.
And welcome new Status Coup member Audrey just signed up. I will shout you out. Hey, we're going to be live for an hour or so, hour and a half. Maybe we can get 30 to 50 paid members. But your membership is how we're going to stay on the ground. And honestly, I think we're going to have to stray from Chicago soon, because I don't think it's going to stop at Chicago. I think based on what Trump is saying, he's going to invoke the Insurrection Act. And after that, it's open season America, and we're going to try to go to as many places as we can. But again, we don't have any funding from ICE or the Border Patrol or United Healthcare or Amazon or UPS or Goldman Sachs or Walmart or any of the other corporate vultures. Our funding is from you, the proletariat. So it means a lot. Every person that signs up. If you're already a member, you could also donate. That's statuscoup.com/donate. You could donate through PayPal, GoFundMe, and I forget the other one. All right. I want to play this clip, Zaina, because to me, I go, not on everything, but you got to go with your gut sometimes, and I go with my eyes. And this Border Patrol chief, to me, if Miller is unhinged in the things he says, I think Greg Bovino is unhinged just by his mannerisms and his body language. He acts like he is literally in like a war zone. Yeah. He acts like he is up against enemy combatants. And this is him after being dressed down by a federal judge, by the way. This is him and being ordered by a judge yesterday. We covered it outside the courthouse to return every day at 6 o'clock Central. So he has to come back in front of the court every day at 6 o'clock Central. I think it should have went further. I think the judge should have held him in contempt and thrown his ass in jail because he's clearly violated the court order multiple times. But with that said, I want to play this clip because this is him walking out of the court, and then the only news crew that actually followed the chase, because you had protesters literally chasing his car. We are the only ones. I want to say we, credit to John and JT, because John is carrying a lot of equipment, and he sprinted and somehow held the camera steady for at least 3 blocks.
He's a champion at that.
Let me play this clip. If it would work. Hold on. Okay.
That's him without the helmet on.
Shame on every single one of you! Bobino, fuck you, bitch! Shame on you! These motherfuckers are for the FBI agent! These motherfuckers...
Okay, can we just talk about that for a minute?
It feels like a dystopian cosplay to me.
Now, I don't want to say things without proof, but the first thing I said, I texted the group chat. I said, was that a Roman salute there? Because it, sure looked a little close to the old Heil Hitler. I'm not saying it was or not, but it sure was in the vicinity. I know some people were saying this is some type of thing in the military, or you're directing your troops which way. I don't know. But even if it wasn't like a Nazi thing, what are you doing? Like, what is the purpose of this? There was literally maybe 20 protesters out there, and you're with a menacing face. And by the way, he did a salute to the crowd too, going like this, and it's almost, I think, I don't know how tall he is. It definitely seems like there's a Napoleon complex here. And he thinks he thinks he's some enshrined warrior or something like that, which a lot of people around Trump do. But let's show you the rest, because then you got to give it up for Chicago. They're not screwing around. And some protesters chased him, and we followed that chase.
I think we're not going to be slowed down by any,
I can hear you on my live
changes
stream.
in leadership. I can tell you that Trump administration is dedicated to.
Wrong one.
Fuck you! You can't drive, bitch! You can't drive! That's city property!
And you crossed the line! Mr. Bovino! Chicago is watching, and you crossed the line! Mr. Bovino! Chicago is watching, and you crossed the line!
Back it up! Back it up!
Mr. Bovino!
Back it up!
Chicago is watching!
Back it up!
And you crossed the
Back
line!
it up!
This is what the Nuremberg trials were for, Bovino! Fuck you!
Fuck you, bitch! Stupid ass nigga, fuck you up! Fuck you! Fuck you, bitch!
Robert, what was the message that you were trying to give to Greg Bovino there?
I said, Mr. Bovino, Chicago is watching, and you've crossed the line. What it refers to is the accountability that the courts are requiring and the people of the city of Chicago are requiring and trying to document. I'm out of breath.
All right. I want to say a few things. Number one, for you status coup aficionados, that attorney, Robert Held, is the same attorney who showed ICE and Border Patrol his backside and then sprinted away from ICE. That was another clip that John,
I didn't realize it was the same guy. Amazing.
Same guy. That was another clip where our cameraman John had to sprint, and it's very hard. I mean, I could barely hold a camera straight when I'm standing still. I'm not a good cameraman. It is very hard running to hold the camera straight, and he's got the live view on his back. And I don't want to say I don't want to get into behind the scenes combos, but I spoke with John this morning. He's like, yeah, I might need a massage or something out here. I can't feel my ankles. I said, get the massage, we'll pay for it, because it's a lot to be sprinting on top of having that equipment on. Anyway, but what is striking to me about that, these people are clearly, they're not, in their mind, carrying out actual law enforcement. Many of them have been caught on camera saying racist things. One was caught, we covered it the other day, saying, bang, bang, you're dead, liberal, to a veteran that was a Border Patrol agent. And this Bovino, I mean, he posts things without any evidence. Before he went into court yesterday, he posted a clip claiming somebody was in a cartel that they had arrested with zero evidence.
Constant propaganda. Yeah.
So to me, it's really dangerous if on top of these people with Napoleon complexes who are violating judges' rulings, even though the judge stripped him down and said you have to appear before court, that's embarrassing, but it's not exactly a real penalty. A real penalty is you have violated my court order. You are not free to leave. You're being held in contempt and you're being locked up. That would be the real penalty. The judge did not do that. But if you have this guy, now Trump is trying to purge ICE to put more of Greg Bovino's in power. Let me read you this, because this is, I mean, if you think it could not, if you think it cannot get worse, it can. So this here, let me show you here.
While you're looking that up, Jordan, I just want to say that this is why it's important we hear from a lot of Democratic leadership and from the Democratic Party that, CBP are the good guys, ICE is the real problem, Customs and Border Patrol are not. This is a reminder that Customs and Border Patrol right now are part of the problem. They're part of the machine. It's not just ICE that are out there.
So Trump plans to install Border Patrol officials to lead a more aggressive migrant crackdown. The White House has approved a list of ICE leaders to be replaced by Border Patrol officials in coming days amidst disappointment with the arrest numbers. Can you imagine that, Zaina? The terror that they're doing already is not enough. They're disappointed with the amount of single mothers they're snagging. They're disappointed with the amount of geriatric elderly people they've assaulted. They're disappointed.
Say the first thing again, Jordan, because you cut out for just a moment. Say that first thing again, because you cut out for just a moment.
I said, can you imagine that they are actually disappointed? They are disappointed with the amount of terror that they've already instilled, the amount of women they've thrown to the ground, dragged out of cars, children they've arrested, elderly people that they've assaulted, veterans they have assaulted. That's not good enough. They want more aggression, more terror. I mean, again, I felt this way at Standing Rock. It's a very, very quick turn before they start using real bullets, especially when you have a fascist government and courts that basically, Might give you a slap on the wrist, but there's no criminal penalty for anything. So my fear is you have the Supreme Court kind of kicking the can down the road, as we spoke about. They haven't ruled against Trump. They might rule in his favor to let in the National Guard. You have a Border Patrol that is now reportedly being inserted to take over. I mean, I don't want to say ICE are, kid gloves here. ICE is pretty aggressive and awful too. But apparently the Border Patrol is worse. And Stephen Miller and Trump want more Border Patrol in place. I just find the whole thing very alarming, and I think it's going to get even worse in places like Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've talked about this before, but it's the 4chanification of our forces. Especially, I watched yesterday a video of, I believe it was from A More Perfect Union. They went to where applications were being taken for ICE. And there were probably, I don't know, 1,000 people there in line waiting, and there is no vetting. There's a $50,000 sign-on vote bonus. And guess what? They can give ICE student loan forgiveness up to $60,000, but they can't give it to the rest of us. So their federal jobs guarantee is possible, Jordan, but for the Gestapo.
They could give you a $50,000 signing bonus too. But teachers, you got to buy your own supplies.
That's right.
Amazon workers, you got to go lift DoorDash or sell blood. I've spoken with Amazon workers who are selling blood, plasma on the side. I mean, this is sick. And I don't want to be clear. We always say this. We have to. I don't want you to get it twisted. Things weren't exactly dandy in America before Trump. The Democratic Party, I believe, is why we got Trump. Because when you continually give neoliberal crumbs to the masses for 40 years, when you continually give these, mealy-mouthed, technocratic bullshit policies like Obamacare, like tax, little tax credits for housing and this and that, when you don't do what the rest of the civilized industrial world does, which is provide your citizens health care, free education, which pays off for the economy tenfold, free public college, an actual social safety net. I mean, hell, when I was in Germany a few years ago, a couple I met, they were telling me that, if you have a baby, you get like a year paid, like almost your full salary. And you can take even more.
Very different lives. Yeah.
Right.
And, can I add to that, Jordan, just really quick? While you guys are watching this, I want you to think about something. The immigration system is a racket. It's a money scheme. It cost about $725 a day, approximately, depending on which privatized institution is holding whoever ICE arrest. $72 per day per head, $702 per day per head of people that they're holding within these facilities. The facilities that are built and ran by Core Civic and Geo Group, which are making billions of federal dollars. And I want to remind people that all of this started and was bolstered by Barack Obama, who helped to privatize the immigration industrial complex. It's an immigration industrial complex. And these people are getting insanely rich by pulling people off the streets and putting 15-year-old boys with autism into these detention centers that they then charge the government per day for every day that they can hold them.
Yes. And by the way, now, as I said, Trump wants to enlist the Navy to build even more ICE prisons, which is just part of the boondoggle you're talking about. He wants to build even more ICE prisons around the country, enlisting the Navy to do it. For what purpose?
Terrible.
And by the way, there's not enough undocumented immigrants in the country to house these facilities. So at some point, they're not going to just be housing undocumented immigrants. They are not going to just be housing undocumented immigrants.
Well, they're already saying they're targeting Antifa. They're targeting domestic terrorists, and they're throwing out names of people like us, journalists.
Yep.
Activists, reporters.
As part of this, Trump, on his way back, I guess, from Germany, not Germany, where was he? Japan, I believe. He basically, without specifically saying it, basically said the Insurrection Act is coming. Let me play you this clip. Oh yeah, I don't like Restream. Hold on.
We're trying out a new platform today, guys.
Well,
a new structure. So
don't know. I don't have
bear with
Colin.
us.
I don't have.
We're
Colin
still just
today.
a little green.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say last night when you said you were prepared to send more than the National Guard into American cities?
Sure, I would do that if it was necessary. You know, if it was necessary to do that, but it hasn't been necessary. We're doing a great job without that. Yeah, it was necessary. As you know,
what did you say last night when you said you were prepared to send more than the National Guard into American cities?
Sure, I would do that if it was necessary. You know, if it was necessary to do that, but it hasn't been necessary. We're doing a great job without that. Yeah, it was necessary. As you know, I'm allowed to do that.
Do you need other branches of the military you can send in, or
Who are you with?
the New York Times?
That's very good. Very good. Well, if you write it correctly, I'll give you the answer. But, you know, I want to enact a certain act. I'm allowed to do it routinely, and about 50% of presidents have used that, as you know, and I'd be allowed to do whatever I want. But we haven't chosen to do that because we're doing very well without it. But I'd be allowed to do that, you understand? And the courts wouldn't get involved, nobody would get involved, and I could send the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, I could send anybody I wanted, but I haven't done that because we're doing so well without it. Washington, D.C. continues to be amazing, safe.
So basically, he's saying there's an act I want to use, but I haven't done it yet because we don't need to do it. Even though he has already done it, he's put the National Guard into D.C. He's put the National Guard into Memphis. He's tried to put it into Portland, and he's trying to put it into Chicago. And by the way, this whole 50% of presidents have put in the National Guard places. That's not true. It's been
Absolutely not true. The last time that it happened previously was at the Battle of Blair Mountain in 1921. And it was during the uprising of coal miners against the Pinkertons and against the coal companies, because coal miners were being held at gunpoint and forced into the mines. So this is what kicked off the labor movement. National Guard was called in. Many people were killed, and the Insurrection Act has not been utilized in that way since.
And by the way,
to claim that 50% of presidents have used it is complete nonsense. We can see that's not true with our own eyes.
And by the way, there might be an insurrection at some point, but it's not going to be over immigrants. It's not going to be over the border. It's going to be over the fact that we have a fucking economic Hunger Games thanks to Trump, his fucking sycophants around him, the Democratic Party who's done nothing for the people for 40 years, and all the corporations who have bought our government. We live in the United Corporations of America. How do I full screen myself? Hold on. Just to show. Yes, we live in the United Corporations of America. Thank you very much. Flag behind me. And there might be an insurrection because UPS just is laying off 48,000 people. Amazon is going to lay off 14,000 with a goal of laying off 30,000. There's a list of several others that are laying off people. Let me find it here.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said 3 months ago that his estimates, and he kind of laughed about it. He's like, I guess people are going to figure something else out. This is the Commerce Secretary. So instead of preparing for this, he's just laughing about the fact that he said anywhere from 25 to 30% of the U.S. workforce is likely to be laid off in the next 2 years due to AI.
But we want to talk about brown people. We want to talk about the grave threat of immigration. And let me show you.
We're taking our gerbs, Jordan.
Trump's golden age of layoffs. This is from the Twitter account, the main work. UPS, 48,000. That is huge. And that's a unionized workforce. Amazon, 30,000. That should be a unionized employment, but workforce, but Amazon has illegally refused to collectively bargain after the workers at the Staten Island warehouse won their union. Intel, 24,000 layoffs. Nestle, 16,000. Accenture, 11,000. Ford, 11,000. Actually, right before I went live, I read General Motors is now laying off. Let me see if I have the number here. GM. GM lays off more than 17, almost 2,000 employees. Nordis, 9,000. Microsoft, 7,000. Paramount, 2,000. Target, 1,800. Kroger, 1,000. And by the way, how this works, and Zaina, you know this because you followed politics and you know these corporate vultures. It's like a domino effect. So once these mega corporations start doing it, others are going to look, oh, well, now we have cover. So you're going to be seeing a lot more companies laying off workers because AI, or we could just squeeze more juice out of the orange of the bare bones, overworked, exploited workforce we have. But what Trump, his right-wing fascists and autocrats are doing is dangling bullshit in front of the masses. We have an invasion. No, we have an invasion of corporate vultures, literally willing to toss you and your family into the ocean if they could, so that they could make more money.
And I'll take it one other step and say, and I'm just going to say this, I see what they're gearing up with the National Guard and everything else is because they know this is coming down the pike. They know what the tech bro creeps like Mark Andreessen, Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin, the guys from Palantir, the guys from ChatGPT and OpenAI talk about this openly, these creeps, that, they know that we're headed in this direction of it replacing millions and millions and millions of jobs. And then after that, it's just about population control.
Yeah.
Not to sound like an Alex Jones or not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, because this isn't conspiracy. It's real, and it's being said openly, and it's being said openly at forums at the literal White House. So that's where we're at now. Crowd control of the masses, a police state is essentially what they're aiming for.
And on that cheery note, smash the like button, share this live stream. We got 750 people watching. We want to get more people watching. So press the like button, share this stream. Super chats are appreciated. And again, I'll take my glasses off so you can see my eyes. I haven't slept in God knows how long. Fucking infant newborns. It's a mess.
Toddler and a newborn. That's a lot.
Oh God. I could go on for 2 hours. I love my daughter and my 6-month-old son, but it's been a lot. And running a company, which is not easy either. But if we're going to stay on the ground in Chicago and we're going to cover all of this fucking disaster and fascism elsewhere, I mean, we can't print money like the federal government, and we don't have, what was that story, Zaina? These influencers and podcasts getting $8,000 a month from some DNC aligned company. I don't have $8,000 a month coming from some.
Can you imagine if they threw us money?
I don't have $8,000 coming from some shadowy DNC organ. I don't have money coming from United Healthcare. I don't have money from Elon Musk. I don't have money from Mark Andreessen. I don't have money from Peter Thiel, Palantir.
We're not pitching you supplements every day.
Or gold. That's
yeah.
So we need you. If you have, what do they say? If you have 16 cents a day, that's what $5 a month comes down to. 16 cents a day. I think it's really, really well suited to fund living, breathing journalism, because I gotta pay JT, our new reporter, who, by the way, is just incredible. When things slow down, we're gonna have him on to kind of introduce himself more, tell you a little bit more about him. John, we gotta pay. Obviously, our new producer Michelle. We're up on Instagram, almost 50,000 followers, thanks to her. We're trying to get our clips and kind of condense them down for the kiddos and Gen Z and everyone on Instagram. So she's doing great work there. Colin, who's been with us from the jump 7 years ago. Zaina, who's contributing. Tina, who contributes. Ron. So please support us. There's a lot of mouths to feed and travel. I want to show this also because JT, while he's out there, he's not only breaking news, he's getting these great interviews. He interviewed a gentleman whose brother was kidnapped by ICE, and he voted for Trump. And what he said, I just thought, a lot of people kind of dunked on him in the comments. Well, told you so. But hey, the fact that he owned up to it, I thought was really important. Let me show you this.
So basically, my brother and his friend, they went to church 9 in the morning in Fullerton, St. Joseph Catholic Church. So they stopped by here to buy something for breakfast. They went to the ATM Chase Bank, and they arrested outside there. And my brother told me they took more people. They didn't ask anything, say, "Oh, you're a citizen," and they refused to talk. And then they basically pulling out from the car. That happened last Sunday. I'm already trying to call the number from ICE for see. I don't know anything. There is no results. I don't know where is my brother. I tried to talk with the Mexican consular, and they told me it's part of the process because they're going to deport him to Mexico. But still, it's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare. And my brother, he's in this country, hard working for over 20 years. No criminal, 100% sure, no criminal. I can put my name on it. I'm a U.S. citizen. I did vote for Donald Trump.
You voted for him. How are you feeling about that vote now?
Now I feel like what I did for this is like I never did my vote for a guy who is kidnap people, and this is like I feel like stupid because I see the around here, and there is everybody's scared. Everybody's like they don't want to go nowhere because if they go to the restaurant, you see the signs in the front. If they go to the mall, you're gonna see ICE. ICE are all over, and they don't care. If you have your kids, they don't care. They're gonna take you. They're gonna take you. If you are, this is out of control now, and I don't know where this is gonna go now. When they gonna stop?
What were the things that Donald Trump was saying while he was campaigning that made him earn your vote? Like what made you vote for him?
He said we're gonna take criminals from out of this country. This is a beautiful country. This is a country that you can make. If you work hard, you can have a nice car. You can have a really good life. And when he said that, I say, okay, this is my guy. And I want this country free to criminals. I want this country like make America great again. That was his speech. And then he's doing opposite things.
And it's easy. I mean, listen, I get the instinct to be like, hey, knucklehead, why didn't you think about this? I get it. A lot of comments are saying, I told you so, and kind of dunking on him. But there's a lot of people that are not politically,
savvy. So they're picking up the populist message. They're running with the populist message that, oh, we want food on the table. We want more jobs. And they're not paying attention to the rest, sadly.
And another breaking news alert on Chicago, since we're still on the ground there. JT mentioned this during the live stream yesterday as he was covering Bovino's appearance after the judge ruled that he had to appear before her every day, which is basically like, you got to come to detention every day to a kid. JT mentioned this is probably going to be appealed. Just in, the Department of Justice files an emergency motion asking the Seventh Circuit to stay Judge Ellis's order that Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino report to her every day on use of force issues. Bovino is due in court in 2.5 hours as part of this. He's due in court 6 o'clock Central. So I kind of guessed that was coming. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's, something he said that kind of ties to this next story, which I hope is going to become front page news because I don't see it anywhere really. He mentioned, I didn't vote for this guy to kidnap people. Well, as we've covered with Alligator Alcatraz and elsewhere, people are being kidnapped, and then their families can't find them because the ICE database and the DHS database is like AOL 1995.
And they're purposely moving people 500 miles to 1,000 miles out of state.
So I want to show you this. This is from September, where this was just somebody on TikTok posting about a Costa Rican who came here in December for a better life and was quickly detained. Let's take a listen.
This is Randall Gamboa. He was one of the detainees that went missing in an ICE detention facility. He was in contact with his family, and all of a sudden, contact was lost. ICE refused to give an update. They just said he couldn't speak. With the help of a human rights advocate who found an attorney, they were able to locate him in a hospital. But ICE still refused to give any information on him. They were finally able to get him taken to Costa Rica, where he's in an inpatient hospital. He cannot move. He cannot speak. He cannot walk. All he can do is blink his eyes, and he is severely malnourished. The family has a GoFundMe set up. You can just type in his name. We need to get the word out, and we need answers. They still have no idea what happened to him. Follow our page for more.
So that was from September. He was healthy before he was detained by ICE. I don't know where he was. I read some stuff online that people thought he was Alligator Alcatraz. I don't know if that's true or not. But from December when he was detained to that video in September, he went from a healthy person to literally he looks like a skeleton. And he was not able to talk, walk, and he looked like he was dying. Well, he has now died. A month after that video. Let me read you the details. Yesterday, Randall Gamboa passed away. He was detained by ICE, and after weeks of them denying information to his family about where he was, a pro bono lawyer found him in a Texas hospital. He was found malnurtured, dirty, and in a vegetative state, unable to even feed himself or talk. And I'll read you this story. It's from the Tico Times, which I believe is a Costa Rican outlet. After health declined in U.S. immigration custody, Randall Gamboa, 52-year-old man from Costa Rican hospital. So he was eventually transferred from Texas to Costa Rica. His family confirmed the death, which followed a sharp health collapse while he remained in U.S. immigration in ICE custody. Gamboa left Costa Rica last year to seek work in the U.S. Authorities detained him in December in Texas, where he entered ICE custody. For months, he spoke daily with relatives through video calls and showed no signs of illness. I should mention he was engaged. He had a fiance. That changed in mid-June when contact stopped without warning. Well, Zaina, again, I don't know for fact, but what happened at the end of mid-June, early December, mid-June, early July was the opening of Alligator Alcatraz. So there has been kind of rumblings that that's where he was, Alligator Alcatraz. I can't confirm it, but it kind of matches that his family had contact with him until the end of June, and then all of a sudden they don't hear from him. Relatives struggled to find him between facilities. A volunteer lawyer tracked him to a Texas hospital where doctors diagnosed rhabdomyolysis, a condition that breaks down muscle tissues. Completely mispronounced that. Apologies. Gamboa appeared malnourished, dehydrated, and in poor hygiene. Family members noted differences between U.S. medical reports and later tests in Costa Rica, which also matches what we've heard with some fudging of medical reports for detainees. In September, the U.S. government arranged an air ambulance to fly him home. He arrived unable to walk, speak, or eat on his own. Doctors described his state as vegetative, brain damage, and other complications. His sister led courts and met with Costa Rica's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in September. Details on his treatment and health decline. As of now, no reply has come. Family members shared an obituary. Our beloved Randall is now with the Lord. We will soon announce the details of his funeral service. And if you just look at this, on the left, that was before he was detained in December. I mean, he looks For a 52-year-old, he looks pretty fit. I assume that's his fiance. I don't know for sure. That is what he looked like after being detained by ICE for months, of ultimately being essentially paralyzed and comatose, really, in a vegetative state. And now he's dead. And my question, Zaina, how many others? How many others? When I first interviewed Rebecca, I'm forgetting her name, the COVID whistleblower, Rebecca Jones is her name. She is a climatologist down in Florida. She was working in the health department before DeSantis purged her for blowing the whistle on DeSantis in Florida, fudging the COVID data numbers. She said, well, again, I don't know for sure if he was at Alligator Alcatraz. There was just some rumors that's where he was. But he said for sure, a swamp is really a good place to dump bodies. It's a swamp, the Everglades. So I don't know how many people, because we tried following Alligator Alcatraz. It was very hard because people were not showing up in the ICE database, and people that were at Alligator Alcatraz were then no longer there, and there was no way to know where they were sent. So how many others are like him that are either very ill because they've been not given enough water, not given enough food, deprived their medication, which has happened a lot at these facilities, and how many have died that we don't know about, and maybe their families don't even know about. I mean, this is straight up state-sponsored murder.
Yeah, and if these are for-profit institutions, they're not giving them health care. They're not giving them proper warmth, proper cold when it's hot, proper cooling, and proper warmth when it's cold. They're not giving them proper nutrition. And we had problems as far back as Obama with these privatized institutions allowing people to starve and not feeding them enough. And now fast forward to under the Trump administration, and it's times 1,000 the problems that we're seeing. And sadly, Jordan, I think there's going to be a lot more stories like this. And I can't imagine what the families are feeling that have no idea where their family members are. And then stories like this circulating through the community. I
know there's a lot going on. I'm kind of stunned that that's not in the media. I mean, I saw it on a couple like international sites, but I really haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything in mainstream media about this. I mean, he was in U.S. custody. He was basically made a vegetative nothing, paralyzed, and he was 52. He's not like elderly. So clearly there was something done to him in ICE custody, and now he's dead. And ICE will not give his family any information. And what's Costa Rica going to do? Nothing. I mean, what could they do against the evil empire that is America and the Trump administration, while Trump is clearly trying to do a coup in Venezuela? Reports just came out that they were trying to basically kidnap Maduro or have his plane enter U.S. soil so they could take it down. So it's really, I'm seeing a lot of comments. This is Gestapo. It is Gestapo, which is a great segue. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. We're the only ones on the ground consistently doing this investigative work. But JT and John recently went to a wealthy neighborhood in Chicago, because ICE is now breaking into homes to round up construction workers. JT, through hard work, what they call shoe leather reporting, he knocked on the door, spoke with the homeowner, and was able to get the security camera footage. For those of you who haven't seen this is just insane. If I break into a home, you get arrested. ICE, by law, you're not allowed to enter homes without a warrant. But they're not following.
No, we have a 4th and a 5th Amendment in our Constitution that's supposed to prevent this.
Right. Like, they don't have warrants for what they're doing. Yet, somehow, it's just going, nobody's being held in contempt. Nobody's being thrown into jail. So, this is kind of like, I go back to Merrick Garland Why was Trump able to evade all of his court cases, which some of them were straight up black and white? He committed crimes like taking nuclear secrets, taking nuclear program classified documents, refusing to give them back, designating his underlings to move the boxes so that the FBI and the DOJ could not find them. That was a crime. The attorney general at the time did not prosecute. And he waited for 2 years, I believe, Merrick Garland, to appoint a special prosecutor, which allowed Trump, through his money and GoFundMe and donations, to hire lawyers to just delay, appeal. And he was able to run again. Merrick Garland delayed it. He's on tape saying, find me 11,000 something votes in Georgia. A clear crime. I mean, these are not like, you want to argue about the Stormy Daniels case and whether that was, whatever. Fine. You had the election, trying to overthrow the election. There was hours of missing phone logs from the White House on January 6th and hours of missing phone calls. There was enough to go after. Merrick Garland did not. And that's not me saying that as some kind of resistance. I'm not a resistance person. I fucking hate the Democratic Party. But I mean, it's just, it's obvious. The attorney general, it's like Obama saying, we want to look forward. We're not going to go after Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld for, lying us into a war and killing thousands of U.S. soldiers and nearly 1 million Iraqis they killed or wounded. So now you have judges just allowing the Trump administration, ICE, Border Patrol, to just violate the law 7 ways to Sunday. Anyway, let me show you this if you missed it. Again, this is our on-the-ground reporting. It's not local CBS. It's not local ABC. It's not local NBC. It's not CNN, MSNBC, New York Times. It's Status Coup. And we don't have their funding. Oh, why does nothing work? Hold on.
Skowski for Status Coup. I am here in the wealthy Chicago neighborhood of Lakeview. I'm standing near the intersection of Henderson and Lakewood, where just yesterday, Friday, a group of 4 workers were working on a home not too far from where I am standing, doing siding work on that home. They had braked for lunch. They were sitting on the front porch. Masked federal agents, many of whom have been patrolling the streets of Chicago, abducting people based purely on the color of their skin, stopped outside the home. The workers had the forethought to lock the gate before they then took off running towards the back of the home. The DHS agents hopped the fence and continued after the workers.
Get the fuck down.
This video shows one of the workers who clambered up onto the back porch and then attempted to climb up further away from the agents by putting his foot on a ladder on the adjoining home. Agents can be seen here pulling at the man as he is dangling there about 8 feet off the ground. The homeowner told me that the agents eventually used pepper spray or some other kind of spray on this man. One of the workers was reportedly hauled in through a neighbor's window by that neighbor. The neighbor is a woman in her 20s. She is now feeling so fearful about coming that close to ICE and is worried about retaliation on her that she actually went to stay with her parents in the suburbs. One of those workers scrambled over some construction debris in order to get to the back of the home. That man had his hand torn up and needed to get 9 stitches. I took these photos of the back door to the home that the worker went inside of that was covered in the worker's blood. These photos of boot prints are taken from inside the homeowner's garage, left by the ICE agents. The homeowner was in Toronto at the time all of this was happening. He was there on a work trip. He found out about it through notifications he got through his Ring camera app on his phone. One of the workers had scrambled up to the door to ring the door in hopes that the homeowner would unlock the door remotely and let the man inside. But there wasn't time. After the homeowner got those notifications on his Ring camera app, he bought a plane ticket, he told me, within half an hour. And within an hour of getting those notifications was back on a plane here to Chicago. Of the 2 men that they detained, agents let one of them go. The homeowner told me he wasn't sure why one of those men were let go, presumably because that man was able to prove legal residency of some kind. And the homeowner tells me he has not heard from DHS at all during this process. He didn't get a warning that they would be coming to his home, and they have not attempted to reach out to him since. He is absolutely incensed about the invasion to his personal property, the invasion to his community by these federal agents. Alder Bennett Lawson, who represents this area, also came out and was doing interviews out here. The homeowner said that he was not impressed by the leadership shown by his alder. He said that leadership in this moment isn't just smiling and shaking hands and going on camera. He said, quote, "This isn't a moment for smiling. This was very violent," unquote. And he wants to see real action taken by his leaders in response to this moment, not just words of condemnation.
This is so fucked up. Even the dogs are shouting, Zaina. Your dogs are angry. You heard Zaina's dogs over there. First of all, can I just say, not because I hired
Sorry
him,
about that.
but no, that's
Construction
okay.
next door.
Not because I hired him, but I mean, this man JT is a machine. He's a journalistic machine. I'm so happy that he's on board with us. He's also a recovering local media reporter. So he's kind of got a similar, I was kind of stuck in the corporate media echo chamber. He reported before this for local news. And there's a lot of actually decent reporters in local media that are just handcuffed and can't actually do actual journalism because the outlets they work for don't want to do actual journalism, or their corporate parents don't want them to do actual journalism. But he got that story, I think in like half a day, while him and John are racing. Chicago's not a small city. They're driving around from Broadview to downtown to suburbs, trying to, find places ICE is doing raids and terrorizing people. So he was able to go down there. He spoke with the homeowner for a while. He got his trust to get the security camera footage. I mean, they're literally attacking workers to the point of leaving a trail of blood while illegally breaking into their home. I mean, this is happening in America.
It started out with them targeting by driving by and just seeing workers with black and brown skin.
It's straight up racial profiling.
It was a bunch of white workers out there doing, putting up siding. No.
And again, to be clear, put aside illegal immigration, which I don't even like the term because human beings are not illegal. Okay. Trump ran on, he's going after the bad ones, right? He said the bad hombres. Okay. We're going after the worst of the worst. There's no targeting going on. They're just, it's been reported. Stephen Miller said, you're not terrorizing enough people. You're not arresting enough brown people. Forget targeting. And actually, there's been some complaints by ICE that ICE actually is trying to go after criminals, whomever they deem criminals, but Border Patrol is the ones going into Home Depots willy-nilly, going into 7-Elevens willy-nilly, just, raiding and invading and ambushing construction crews like we just saw. They're not trying to find criminals. They're just trying to find anyone brown.
Absolutely.
Why? To basically appease, nativist old Republicans who don't like brown people and don't like immigrants. Because there is no fucking border crisis. There's no immigration crisis. I'm not saying there hasn't been issues at border towns. I'm not saying no criminals exist that come from other countries. But I buy the data. There's a whole lot more violent criminals born and bred right here in America that we're not doing shit about, and Trump doesn't care about, and Stephen Miller doesn't care about. They don't care about the white supremacists. They don't care about the Christian nationalists. They don't care about the MAGA shooters that are shooting up schools.
They don't care about white-collar crime poisoning our people like happened in East Palestine.
No. Oh, remember that Trump was going to come in, J.D. Vance, who was an Ohio senator, and they were going to help the poisoned people of East Palestine who are now dying of cancer because a multi-billion-dollar railroad company unnecessarily nuked the town? In fairness, that happened under Biden, and he didn't do anything for them either. Biden covered it up. Biden's EPA covered it up. Not to mention, we're 11 years after the people of Flint were poisoned. No one has done anything for them. No one. The water is still bad in Flint. Don't listen to the EPA or the state of Michigan. Listen to the people of Flint.
The problem is a black or brown person putting up siding on the side of a house in a Chicago neighborhood.
Correct. So what do we got to do, folks, to get you to sign up as a paid member? I'm not asking you to sign up as a paid member to Status Coup so that we could all go streaking at the casino. I'm not asking so we could all go to Cancun. I'm asking so I can keep JT on the beat.
Unless you guys threw in a lot for us to go straight.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I would happy. Listen, if 1,000 people sign up by the end of this month, so we got 3 days, I'll go streaking anywhere you want. But we're asking because it's expensive to stay on the ground. I mean, do you even know, folks? I don't want to get too in the weeds. Just paying for parking in places is wildly expensive when you're on the ground. Not to mention renting a car. You got to pay for insurance on the car. Food. You know, I don't want my people, you know, eating McDonald's every day. So they have a little, you know, allowance to eat decent food on the road. Obviously, hotels. So again, we're asking you to support us so that we could continue being on the ground, because it's not going to just stop at Chicago. He wants to go everywhere. Speaking of, I have another clip. If you think Bovino is bad, let's go to Tom Homan, the ICE chief, who's now openly saying, yeah, if Mamdani wins, that communist, yeah, they're just waiting to invade New York if the Muslim becomes mayor. Let's tell you.
Mr. Homan, Zoran Mamdani, the likely next mayor of New York City, has promised not to cooperate with you or with ICE or with deportations of any kind. Do you have a plan? Is there a plan to work around that? How are you going to handle it?
Good luck on that, because we're going to be in New York City.
Zoran
President Trump said it 2 weeks
the
ago.
likely next mayor of New York City, has promised not to cooperate with you or with ICE or with deportations of any kind. Do you have a plan? Is there a plan to work around that? How are you going to handle it?
Good luck on that, because we're going to be in New York City, and President Trump said it 2 weeks ago. We're going to double down, triple down in sanctuary cities. Why? Not because they're a blue city or a blue state, because we know that's where the problem is. We know they're releasing public safety threats and national security threats to the streets every day because they don't honor our detainers. We know that. We don't have that problem like in Florida, where every sheriff in the state's working with us. So where we're going to send our assets, we're going to send them where the problem is. Sanctuary cities. So I've said it before. We'll flood the zone of sanctuary cities.
Is it still just loading on your end?
Let us arrest a bad guy in the county jail. They're going to arrest him in the community. We're going to arrest him at a work site. So we're going to increase community operation. We're going to increase work site enforcement operation. We're going to get the bad guys. So if they don't want to help, get out of the way. We're coming to do it.
So he says that's where the problem is, New York City. They're going to get the bad guys. Have they met the current New York City mayor who's corrupt as sin? Who's the bad guys in New York City? The fucking bodega owners that you're rounding up? The street vendors that they're going after? They just went on Canal Street to terrorize, you know, the people who sell fake tchotchkes and purses. Those are the bad ones? That's where the problem is? Meanwhile, this guy took a bag of $50,000 in cash as a bribe. I mean, it's insane that the worst criminals are in his administration lecturing and pounding their chest about the bad ones. Your thoughts?
Well, first I wanted to address, someone did ask in the comments if there's a way that they can support us without 40% going to the alphabet. And yes, there is. You can go to StatusCoup /join and StatusCoup.com/join. And there, if you become a member through our actual website, then 100% of those proceeds go to Status Coup. So even though we love subscriptions on here, that helps us out. Super chats help us out. We really do suggest folks go to the website, support us as a member from there, because all those proceeds do go directly to Status Coup instead of to the corporate hegemony. So
that is a great question and a greater answer by Zaina. And I will also add, why I don't even push YouTube membership, as I don't want people to sign up through YouTube. However, you know, you're going to do what you're going to do. So I'm not going to, you know, slap you on the wrist. But here is the reason. If you have signed up on YouTube, I kindly ask you, cancel that, sign up on our website, StatusCoup.com/join. Only if you're going to do it. Two things. Number one, as Zeta said, YouTube takes about 30%. of super chats and memberships. That's a lot. That's a lot. Secondly, if you haven't noticed, there's been a little bit of a big tech crackdown in recent years. The censorship swing kind of comes and goes and flies off the handle sometimes. Our historic January 6th live stream was taken down. We were the first ones live on January 6th because YouTube decided to have a ridiculous policy of election fraud where they couldn't distinguish between the news outlet covering the mob, the insurrection, and the insurrectionists. So we had a stream. At one point, we had 30,000 people watching live. That is a lot for a little channel like us. If that would have stayed up, I mean, we'd probably have 10 to 20 million views on that and recurring revenue forever. And we would have had documentary filmmakers reaching out to us to license footage from that. We would have had a lot of outlets reaching out to. So YouTube cost us, I don't even know how much. And 2 years later, they ended the election fraud policy. And when I got a human being from Google on the phone, which is not easy to do, it took a lot of time for me to get past the fucking automated system and get somebody from YouTube. And I said, hey, now that you have ended the policy, can you restore our live stream? Which, again, there's no reason to take it down. They told me, oh, we deleted it. I said, you're Google. You don't delete anything. What was I going to do? Spend, tens of thousands of dollars in court to try and get the video? We don't have that kind of money. So my point is, YouTube, you don't want to rely on YouTube if you're a small independent outlet. That's why we're trying to kind of spread our apples. We're trying to grow on Substack. We're trying to grow on Instagram, trying to grow in other places. And also, there's no safeguards. YouTube could wake up one morning and just decide to nuke our channel if they wanted to. They could demonetize us, which if they do, we can't even make money off of memberships, or they could just get rid of us for whatever bullshit reason or policy they make up. So if they did that, I'm not going to lie, we're fucked if the majority of our members are signed up through YouTube rather than our website. So if you thus far have signed up on YouTube, maybe it was easier, you just saw the button quicker, that's fine. But it does greatly help us if you sign up on our website. Because, by the way, on YouTube, we don't have access to your email. If you sign up on our website, we have your email. We don't bomb you with fundraising, begging you for money every day. But we could have your email so that we could send you updates when we're live, when we break a story. So that's why you should sign up to our website, statuscoup.com/join. Thank you, Zaina, for that friendly reminder. All right. But I got to tell you, these are, I don't even think they're sociopaths. I think you got a lot of psychopaths in very, very powerful positions. And I even said to John and JT, I mean, we're not going to hold back, but I said, just watch your back. Because if we are following, basically what they did yesterday was follow cars, because there are vehicles and there are Chicago residents following ICE and following Border Patrol, which is not illegal that I know of.
No.
They're not touching them. They're not being violent, but they're following them so they could, take video of them and track them. So we were following the followers. But I'm saying up is down and there is no laws here. So don't be surprised. They might threaten you. They might say you're impeding, which we are not, to be clear. So there's just basically what is the phrase? The chickens are running the hen house. Mm-hmm. The psychopaths and the roided up, the worst of the worst from your high school gym class are running the country. From lunatics like Stephen Miller to muscle heads like Greg Bavino to wannabe Rambos.
We have
Tom
4chan trolls who did nothing but play Call of Duty and think they're in a movie.
Oh, speaking of, Zaina, it's almost like if there is a God, he's listening to everything I'm saying. Because I have continual breaking news alerts making my point. So you know how we showed you the Bavino chase, where he came out of the Dirksen courthouse yesterday after the judge dressed him down and said, you have to report here every day at 6 o'clock Central. And then he did his little whatever salute that was, and we followed the chase. And then 30 minutes ago, we got the news that the Trump Department of Justice has appealed that decision because they don't want Bavino to have to appear at court. Well, he is scheduled to appear at 6 o'clock Central at the Dirksen Courthouse, which is in Chicago, and there has now been a bomb threat called in. So access to the Dirksen U.S. Courthouse is temporarily closed due to some kind of bomb threat. Security officers with dogs are out front. Wonder who's calling in the bomb threat, Zaina.
Pretty convenient.
And I also want to point out, because this is how I read it. This hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but I think Bavino low-key threatened the judge, or at least stoked, I believe, stoked potential violence against the
It's
judge.
scary.
So new filing in the Bavino immigration case includes translation of his Friday Telemundo interview, in which Bavino references the U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis. This is the judge who just yesterday ruled he has to show up in court in front of her every day. Quote, was she hit in the head with a rock? Maybe she needs to see what that's like before issuing an order like that. I mean, I don't know how you take that, Zaina, but he's not stupid. He knows there's been violence perpetrated by right-wingers, and he's throwing rocks and the judge in the same sentence. And now there's a bomb threat called in because Trump's Border Patrol chief.
Also, can I add just a little bit to that, Jordan? It shows who they humanize, because we just read an article about a man that died in ICE custody, that was starved. We saw what he looked like months before, and he looked perfectly healthy down to skin and bones, not even being able to speak or eat or visually look at people. And then we just saw another video of the cam footage that JT was able to gather, which was amazing reporting, that they're breaking into homes in even wealthy neighborhoods in Chicago. So if you think it's just relegated to certain places, you're wrong. Pulling people off the streets just because they're black and brown. So all of this stuff that ICE is doing for him isn't threatening whatsoever. It's not wrong. The violence that ICE is doing is not wrong, but somebody just following CBP, Customs and Border, or CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, or ICE is somehow this massive threat, enough to where a judge is saying to back off on trying to arrest people for that. And he's saying, how would she like it if she was hit in the head with a rock?
And by the way, I hate to be a broken record here, but this is what happens when you don't actually have any fucking criminal penalties. This is what happens when the attorney general under Biden sits on his hands for 2 years because the Democrats want to be civil and, they don't want to come off as partisan or political, and let the former president who tried to illegally overturn the election basically walk.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when the president steals thousands of classified documents with the identities of spies, nuclear programs. It was shown that he was sharing that showing classified documents to other people. He left boxes of classified documents out in the Mar-a-Lago ballroom that people come in and out of, the bathroom. This is what happens when you literally have the DOJ and FBI civilly for over a year negotiate with the former president to get them back instead of going in much sooner. And this is what happens when judges, when their orders are violated. Remember, the source of this was the judge issued an order that Border Patrol and ICE had to stop tear gassing protesters, journalists. They violated it the next day. And instead of holding them in contempt, throwing Bavino, others on the ground behind bars, she brings him in and just reads him verbatim what the order was and gives him the benefit of the doubt that, well, I'm sure you wouldn't violate the order, so maybe you didn't understand it. And now you have, it ain't liberals calling in bomb threats to try and stop him from having to appear. And this is a cycle. I remember when I covered the 2020 election, I was in Philly the day after the election when, Stop the Steal was starting and they were calling in bomb threats there when I was there. And there was somebody, a madman, who drove up from, I think, Virginia with a fucking car full of loaded weapons that they arrested, thankfully, before he shot up the convention center that was counting the ballots, the Philadelphia Convention Center.
that.
So this is just getting worse and worse.
But, you know, I keep thinking about, Jordan, the fact that when Benjamin Netanyahu came to the United States after the ICC had put out arrest warrants for war crimes, after we had been funding an active genocide, and almost the entirety of Congress, with the exclusion of maybe 4 or 5 members, gave him 47 standing ovations.
Oh, well, that's a great reminder. Thank you for reminding me, because I haven't mentioned it. All of this illegality is going on while we are still holding Israel's hand and allowing them to do whatever the fuck they want, because they've already broken the ceasefire. I don't know how many times, many times, and killed many Palestinians since the ceasefire after carrying out the genocide. So the genocide's still basically being carried out, just kind of under the terms of a ceasefire.
A ceasefire that's not being followed in true form, because there have been thousands and thousands of breaches of ceasefires in the past. This is a long-held pattern. Israel's never, ever held to any ceasefire that has ever been implemented in the past. So why would we expect them to now? 67 were, I believe, 67 were killed in Rafah yesterday alone.
It's disgusting. Also, I didn't even mention this. My apologies, because I keep fucking up how to pronounce her name. There is a congressional candidate, Kat Abu Ghazala. Thank you. Progressive. She's running to represent one of the districts in the Chicago area. She's been out there protesting on the ground. She got assaulted and thrown to the ground by federal agents several times. She's now been indicted.
Really?
I mean, she has now been indicted. Here we go.
My name is Kat Abu Ghazala. I'm running for Congress in the 9th District of Illinois, and the Department of Justice is charging 6 people, including myself, with federal crimes for exercising our First Amendment rights near ICE's Broadview Processing Center. This is a political prosecution and a gross attempt to silence dissent, a right protected under the First Amendment. This case is a major push by the Trump administration to criminalize protest and punish anyone who speaks out against them. That's why I'm going to fight these unjust charges, but I need your help to do it. As I and others have exercised our First Amendment rights, ICE has hit, dragged, thrown, shot with pepper balls, and tear gassed hundreds of protesters, simply because we had the gall to say that masked men coming into our communities, abducting our neighbors, and terrorizing us cannot be our new normal. And because Chicago doesn't back down from bullies in masks who tear gas our neighborhoods, this administration has resorted to weaponizing the federal justice system to scare us into silence. But we're not going to be silent. The Trump administration wants you to be afraid of speaking out against it and its anti-democratic power grabs. And there are plenty of reasons to be afraid right now, but we have to overcome that fear. This case targets our rights to protest, speak freely, and associate with anyone who disagrees with the government. And while we have seen the unhinged and unlawful tactics this administration has used against the American public, it's important to remember they're doing this because they are scared. They are wrong. And they know they are on the wrong side of history. We cannot diminish ourselves in the face of these attacks. That's why we have to unite and stand up for humanity, our rights, and everyone terrorized by Trump's lawless secret police. You'll be hearing regular updates directly from me about this case and how we can use our constitutional rights to resist authoritarianism. And as scary as all of this is, I have spent my career fighting America's backslide into fascism. I'm not going to stop now, and I hope you won't either.
Can I say something, Jordan?
Sure.
I want to be clear. She's a politician running for a seat, but this has happened to thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans. We saw it at Stop Cop City. Biden helped set the precedent for this. RICO charges and domestic terrorism charges of Cop City protesters who don't have a platform and aren't an influencer and aren't from privilege.
And Standing Rock, by the way.
I just want to be clear. And Standing Rock. This has been happening to organizers over and over again, and the Trump administration has increased it. It didn't start with him. It happens every time we go on the ground. We see this happen. And we've covered hundreds and hundreds of protests at Status Coup. So I appreciate her bringing this forward. I appreciate her talking about this, but I just want to make it very clear. She is a politician. Politicians are not immune, but this is not unique. This happens to thousands and thousands of people that don't have a platform, aren't influencers, aren't being invited onto CNN, and aren't privileged. Thousands and thousands of people. So this is a common occurrence, and it needs to stop.
And as we're talking, the plot thickens. So we started from Bavino and the DOJ formally appealed him having to show up because he was scheduled to show up in 2 hours, 6 o'clock Central Time, because the judge ordered that he had to be there every day to update on ICE terror campaign. And then you had a bomb threat, and now he doesn't have to show up. Shocker. So this is from a Chicago Tribune reporter. The 7th Circuit has agreed that Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino doesn't have to come in at 5:45, staying Judge Ellis's order. The plaintiffs are ordered to respond tomorrow. So more legalese. But again, I don't know, Zaina. I guess I might sound like a broken record. Boy, the legal system sure doesn't have these allowances for working people. Because working people don't have the funds for these constant appeals. So the environmental protesters that have been arrested, protesting at Standing Rock, protesting at Line 5, Keystone, the list goes on.
Pro-Palestine protest, how many arrests how much brutality did we record at those protests at the hands of police?
And not to toot my own horn, but I just posted that to remind you folks, I still have a mark on my calf. I still have a mark on my calf from those rubber bullets. They're not so non-lethal. And that was almost a decade ago. Still have a mark on my calf from getting shot at Standing Rock. Don't regret it. But you make a great point. Like, the bottom line is, Greg Bavino, because he's got the force of the DOJ and the federal government behind him, they're just able to appeal, and it goes on and on and on. And, the plaintiffs have to respond tomorrow. And then the defendants have 3 weeks from now to respond. And in the meantime, they're allowed to kidnap, terrorize, and abduct immigrants. And, by the way, U.S. citizens. They are taking U.S. citizens.
Yeah. They're racially profiling. So it doesn't matter. I saw a guy, I'm so glad there's a lot of citizens out there recording this. And I will say, if you guys have footage, you can go to StatusCoup.com and let us know if you have captured footage on the ground as well. We are always open to that. You can also share with us links on social media of things you guys uncover to help flag it for us, because we have amazing journalists on the ground. And if you see something, say something, and you can get it to us. Isn't that right, Jordan? So I know that there's a lot of just everyday citizens out there recording, and I think that's amazing. But I saw a guy who was a U.S. citizen. He he had no accent. No, he was just brown. And not that an accent should be target anyone, but he was just a brown guy walking around. 5 ICE guys surrounded him, harassing him, asking for his quote unquote papers, and then arrested him.
It's just sick.
And he was just walking through like a Trader Joe's parking lot.
I wanted to also show, because JT, I don't know when he pees, but he also got ICE or Border Patrol just smashing into a car, like breaking through the glass and abducting 2 people. Why? No idea.
We saw when we walked up here was that broken glass that was here spread out across the parking lot. Can you walk through what led up to that glass being shattered on that vehicle and why it seemed that the federal agents did that?
I was buying here on this grocery store, and I saw those masked guys right behind of a car that was parking on the parking lot here on the grocery store, and they were waiting here for probably 40 minutes, and after that they broke the window of the car, and I know they are doing the wrong thing because they don't look criminals, to be honest. And we called the police. The police came, and they do nothing. Couldn't do anything because they said that it's federal.
Just some information that I got from the family was that these two had actually been in the country for about 30 years and did not have criminal history. We're just hardworking people, sort of, the impression that you got as well. What do you feel like is the message that the federal government is attempting to send to this community here in Addison?
I don't know, to be honest. This is what we need to get answers from them. Why they are chasing these people? Why? How do they know they are criminals? This is the question. I mean, they are not looking criminals, to be honest. This is not an issue or looking for criminals. We understand when somebody is a criminal anywhere in the United States, they can be taken out, but not these innocent people. They're no criminal. They look more criminal than those guys here with masks, arms, and broke windows and properties. They are innocent, man. This is not fucking right. And you guys gonna pay the fucking consequences later on, man.
We're doing our job?
Yeah, you're doing your job, doing this fucking thing. Yeah, let me talk to them. The police is here.
You mentioned that you felt like it was hurting the economy here in Addison. Really give us a few examples of how you feel that these raids by the federal government are harming businesses down here and people.
Well, nobody wants to go out right now. See, they're gonna pass the news. They're gonna be afraid. People, even yesterday, we saw those guys in a school. Little kids right there. They are hiding there. They are hitting everything. I mean, how are they gonna go to school? I mean, imagine the fear of the people. I mean, this is not right. It's gonna hurt the economy. They're gonna hurt everything, and this is not right. They're gonna be empty houses, empty apartments, empty businesses. I mean, this is what we want here? I don't know. Somebody can explain to us what this is gonna happen. I mean, we are probably close to 40,000. Almost 50% is Latinos.
The full interview, the full video is up on our channel under the videos tab. And please watch these videos, comment, like them. It helps in the YouTube algorithm. We got to get this out to more people. We don't have, unfortunately, the audience of some bigger channels, and most of those bigger channels are not actually doing reporting. They're just talking. So the more people that actually watch the full video, comment, like, it makes a big difference. And welcome new Status Coup members signed up to our website, Joyce. So be like Joyce and sign up to help us stay out there. Again, the more people that sign up for as low as 16 cents a day, folks, that's all I'm asking. 16 cents a day. The more people that sign up, the more money we have.
And I would remind people, NPR and PBS doesn't even do this kind of coverage, and public news is eroded. So
no.
we're asking for public support. And
NPR is certainly not doing this kind of work.
No. No.
Chris signed up, Joyce signed up, Tyler signed up, Cholera signed up, and Carrie signed up. So thank you so much, everybody. By the way, I apologize if I didn't mention, you also get some perks as a Status Coup member. So as a Status Coup member, we do a monthly members call through kind of like a Zoom-like program. It's a video call, but you don't have to be on video. You could just mute your video if you don't want to be on there. If you sign up to our website, you get discounts on our merchandise because we have a store, statuscoup.com/store, where you could get awesome shirts like United Corporations of America, Fossil Fuckers, Poison States of America, Oiligarchy, Capitalism, COP. My wife came up with that one. Shout out to her. And we do behind the scenes videos for our members. So you get some perks. We've been kind of dragging on doing the members call because we've been on the ground. And it's, we want JT and John to be able to join. So we'll do our monthly members call whenever things settle down, if that ever happens, because who the fuck knows if things will settle down in this hellscape. What were your thoughts on that one, Zaina? Because again, you can't just go breaking down people's fucking windows. You have to have a warrant. I don't think they have warrants for most of the things they're doing.
No, and one thing stuck out to me, it looked like a minivan or like a family SUV. And there's a guy there. There's a guy carrying a semi-automatic weapon, automatic weapon. I'm not sure. I didn't get a good look. Strapped across his chest like he's in a war zone. Monitoring like he's in a war zone to arrest what looks like two women my age, unarmed women my age in their vehicle. That was the level of excessive force that they're trying to normalize us into thinking this is normal. That's not normal. A masked man with a semi-automatic weapon strapped across his chest, busting out windows of an SUV to pull out moms. Not normal, guys. That's one thing that did stick out to me, because he was monitoring and he had a huge gun. Yeah.
And the one who was breaking down the windows, it's like a sick irony, is wearing that Americano mask or face thing. If that's what America stands for. And by the way, putting the morality aside, there is $250 billion with a B being put into ICE and Border Patrol through this big, beautiful bank robbery bill. The big, beautiful bank robbery. $250 billion.
More money than many Western countries' entire militaries.
And why I bring that up, a lot of it seems to be going towards this propaganda, the propaganda videos. They got full-on film crews following Border Patrol around to make them look like Rambo. They have full-on film crews following. It would not shock me, by the way, if we're going to find out later that some of these right-wing influencers and content creators that are going around, Benny Johnson, others, Cam Higbee, I don't have evidence for this. I'm just, to be clear, it would not shock me if there's some type of money being exchanged, because there's right-wing influencers going around basically doing propaganda tours with Kristi Noem and Greg Bovino and following them around
and
to
then
make
having their own press conferences at the White House. Benny Johnson had his own press conference at the White House, an unofficial spokesman.
And I want to be clear here, because I think, unfortunately, most online media, most media period, is just blue team, red team. And we're not going to criticize the other side that's not on our team. We're not a safe space for any of that. We are not a Democratic Party channel. We're certainly not a Republican Party channel. I tell you, they're all fucking corrupt. But to be clear, although the bad guys and gals in this instance are Trump and his sycophants, the Democratic Party, there is a lot more that they could be doing right now that they're not. And by the way, how you oppose actual fascism is not just saying, vote for us, we're not the fascists, is proposing a bold alternative. Like, the Democratic leader had to be dragged and kicking and screaming to endorse Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee. The governor of New York sure looks like she's, has a bellyache. It sure doesn't look happy to be out there at a Zohran rally.
True. But she's also a woman that called the National Guard into the metro system. So.
Right. But my point is, the Democratic Party right now could be proposing Medicare for all, which is popular across the board, even among Republicans. Free public college. They, instead of being purchased by all these artificial intelligence fucking lunatics and private vultures, they could say, no, we're not going to be the party that literally takes a battering ram to America's workers.
Yeah.
And we're gonna create some protections for those workers against AI. They could be doing a lot. They could be saying, no, we're not for private prisons, which basically these ICE centers are essentially private prisons.
Yep.
They could be proposing canceling student debt, like really doing it, not $10,000 sprinkles. And if they did those things, if there were actual elections, because I'm not convinced Trump's, I think we're in a dangerous place, Zaina, And I'm not sure there's going to be elections, or at least he's going to try and
The
invoke.
bar is in hell, Jordan. The bar is in hell. And the sad thing is the Democratic Party are comfortable with the bar being in hell because all that they have to offer is we're not Trump.
But I'm telling you, Gavin Newsom, who's basically declared he's running for president, that ain't going to cut it. He might look like he's at a central casting, but he's a corporate neoliberal. I know some channels out there are cheering him on because he trolls Trump on Twitter and, talks like he carries a big stick. He's a corporate hack.
I'll go
That's what he is.
Say that he's to the right of a Mitt Romney. Oh,
I
sorry.
don't know about that.
His record. I mean, we covered that he cleaned up homeless encampments with his bare hands in California.
Oh, right. Cleaned it up, not for the homeless. Cleaned it up while he was pushing them out, while he's pushing the homeless out. By the way, Gavin Newsom's the one who was the driving force to block single-payer healthcare in California. So if you think that's the answer for fascism, if you think, Jordan, suck it up, fuck you, now's not the time, I'll vote for a goddamn paper bag over Trump. This is not me telling you what to do. This is me saying, I don't think it's going to be enough.
I'm going to say something, Jordan. Can I say something? I'm going to put myself up on a pedestal for just a moment. I am one of the country's leading experts on voter sentiment. I worked 100 insurgent federal races. I've talked to almost 400,000 to 500,000 voters in door knocking and phone calls over a 5-year period. And I've done analysis on this. We at Status Coup have talked to thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
I have to interrupt you because you're underselling yourself. You made AOC. Don't be humble. You made AOC. You wrote her speeches when she was with the Justice Democrats. The words coming out of her mouth were written by you. So I'm just throwing that in there. Go on.
What I learned was, and we've covered this statistically. We've proven this on Status Coup with data we have brought forward. Jordan and I talked just 2 weeks ago about most Americans, even a large percentage of Republicans support Medicare for all. These policies are popular. This mythology that they sell you that you have to shift to the right and some unicorn of an idea of some never Trumper Republican and that's what we have to appeal to is what causes them to lose. That is why they are losing, because tuition-free college is extremely popular. Medicare for all is extremely popular. Reeling in ICE and CBP and humane immigration practices, extremely popular. This fascism isn't popular. Corporatized liberalism isn't popular. People are ready for a change. So that's what it is, Jordan. And if they keep pushing this narrative that candidates are going to lose if they do anything at all that's like populist left, they're wrong. They're ignoring the actual data. You know why they're ignoring it? One, they're rich and out of touch because they ain't talking to us. And two, they're doing what their corporate donors want.
And I want to make I have a case study for that. I have a case study, even though you are definitely on politics no more than me. All right. We got governor's races coming up next week. New Jersey in particular. I mean, you got a guy named Jack Ciattarelli. He might as well be in The Sopranos. He's a MAGA guy in New Jersey, which, has elected Republicans before. I wouldn't call it a swing state. It's normally a blue state, but it can go the Republican side. In this moment, with prices the way they are, Trump has not has not lowered prices whatsoever. They've gone up even more. This moment, as the government shut down, which I think the Republicans are being blamed for, this moment when Americans are seeing all the layoffs, this moment when Americans are seeing this fucking chaos on the streets, a Democratic candidate in New Jersey should be up in the polls, I'd say, by 7 to 10 points. Right now, there's some polls, it's within the margin of error. Why is that? Because the Democratic candidate running is a fucking corporate hack. Oh, she was in the military. Well, thank you for your service. You're a corporate hack. Mikey Sherrill is her name. She made a shit ton of money doing basically insider trading as a congresswoman. In fairness, it's not only her, it's all of them.
Mm-hmm.
She's running basically Kamala Harris's campaign. You know, we'll sprinkle some neoliberal crumbs for you, tax credit here, you know, neoliberal policy. She's not running on anything bold. I couldn't tell you what she's running on. And that's how you allow Shitterelli's, Jack, what is his name? Shitterelli? I don't even know. Chitterelli, excuse me. Might as well be Shitterelli. That's how it's even this close. I'm not saying vote for him. What I'm saying is this is why it's so close, even with fascists or fascist adjacents or fascist sycophants or fascist enablers. I mean, Citarelli has like all the way at the bottom of his website, you know, that Trump endorsed it. He's not embracing Trump because it's not popular in New Jersey. But if you had someone running in New Jersey right now and I'm going to freeze the rent, I'm lowering property taxes by X percentage. You know, we're going to push a single payer healthcare system in this state. Win by 10 to 15 points. Am I wrong?
You're 100% correct. And that's what all the data shows. And I will say to John Smiths, who said that I'm a traitor and that I would be imprisoned in my own country. This is my country. Born and raised here, bud. I am an American. And I wanted to add to that. And my point is, that's kind of my point, is folks like John in the comments, their ideas are fringe. Most Americans do not feel this way. And I think Mamdani proves it. You know, you might look at a name like Zainab, you might look at a name like Mamdani, and there are the fringe right wing that are going to comment things like that. They're going to believe things like that. The majority of Americans do not feel this way. And New York has proved it. New York has proved that a populist left message can win. And we've been telling them this for 5 years now, Jordan, because you spoke to people on the ground constantly. You've traveled all over the country speaking to people on the ground that are struggling. And a lot of news agencies don't do that. And this isn't armchair punditry. I worked in the field for a decade, in the field, doing journalism and activism in the field, talking to people and doing it. And you guys know in your heart of hearts, what we really want is to put food on the table. You want a roof over your head. Most people are where you are.
And you know what bothers me about the John Smiths of the world? I assume he's a MAGA guy. I don't know. Sometimes we get MAGA people in there. Hey, I welcome you. If you're MAGA and want to watch, fine. If you want to troll, have at it. But take your blinders off for a second and smell the fresh air, because you're being fucked. Mm-hmm. If you are MAGA, you are being fucked with a capital F. He gutted your Medicaid. There's a lot of conservatives on Medicaid. You know who gets the most federal assistance? Red states, not blue states. Gutting your Medicaid, you're fucked, MAGA.
Well,
hey, but we're rounding up.
Coming out about that, Jordan. But
yeah, we're rounding up the brown people. So fuck it. I'll just go without health care.
It's very
cutting food programs. A lot of conservatives on food programs. Cutting youth programs. Let's not forget. We forget because there's so much chaos. He handed the keys to the government over to the world's richest man, who literally stole Social Security data, gutted government agencies that fucked MAGA too.
Yeah.
So, John, as you're being a bigot to Zaina, you're being fucked up the butt, pal. Sorry to be crass. And you seem not to care. And there's a lot of people like you. Why? Because they've hoodwinked you into being distracted by this shiny little thing called the culture war.
It's true. It's true.
And by the way,
wrong, Jordan,
a lot of people on the liberal side too, the vote blue no matter who crowd, who also has been hoodwinked in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
by playing into, at least our side is loving and not bigoted and not fascist and believe in pro-choice and not hateful to immigrants. Okay. But they're still fucking you economically. They've been fucking you economically for 40 years. Obama's big achievement was a Republican healthcare plan that was a blowjob to the insurance industry.
Absolutely.
But he spoke very eloquently, didn't he? So, folks, wake up. There's no blue. The real color that matters in this country is green. It's not blue or red.
That's a Jordan tagline, you guys.
I hope my father's not watching that Zionist, my father, because he loves to call me Jordan. I like that you're growing, but you have to stop with the cursing. No one's going to take you seriously. You got to stop with the cursing. I said, Dad, it's not fucking 1950. Shut up. Anyway, I digress. All right, I got to go take care of the kitties soon. But before I go, I want to remind folks, Zaina has a new story out at her great Substack called the Bullhorn Bulletin, which you got to sign up for. The link is in our description. Zaina, tell folks about this. You know, on the scale of crises right now, people aren't focused on, progressive, grifters. But I do think it's important because we know our enemy. We also have to know who our actual allies are. And you did a piece on Middle Seat, which is a so-called progressive consulting firm that's making bank by pushing candidates like John Fetterman.
John Fetterman, what they do, their whole thing is they're former Bernie Sanders staffers. So they put a veneer of progressivism onto candidates like Joe Biden was one of theirs. Beto O'Rourke. John Fetterman is their big bellwether candidate. I know some of the other organizations are J Street. They worked with David Hogg's PAC, who is pushing Graham Plattner right now as well. So one of the things they do is they put a leftist or progressive, really progressive veneer on candidates that might not be so much. So what they do is they sell the Bernie movement to the highest bidder that can come in and pay them. And they've made $134 million since their launch in 2017, which is staggering. But the reason I did this in part is because I want people to know where your campaign donations go to for some of these candidates. They go back into the consulting firm machine. So right now, when you have families struggling, when you have people that can't put roofs over their heads, when SNAP benefits are being cut, maybe consider either contributing to reporters like us that are going to bring news to you from the ground. Consider contributing to your local food pantry, but beware of sending big dollars to these candidates before you research or know who they are, because they might just have a middle seat behind them.
And so you guys see it here. That's the story. Bullhorn Bulletin. The best damn newsletter out there. So go subscribe if you can.
One other thing, Jordan, I did want to mention one of the things that they profit off of.
Hold on, I'm giving you a plug here. Go subscribe, and if you can, become a paid member. Zaina has to eat too.
Yes,
and she's a single mother out there. Anyway, go on.
One of the things that they do is, if you sign up for a petition, if you sign up for certain organizations that are within the Democratic Party Beltway, they take these list of names that they gather and they sell it to people like John Fetterman. So one of the reasons is maybe if you've signed up to AOC's list as a supporter on her website, that could potentially be being sold to John Fetterman. So that's why you're getting fundraising emails from a John Fetterman or from candidates that you never supported, never donated to, and don't support. And I'll remind you that they do have a lot of corporate Dem candidates as well. So those people are getting your names.
Zaina, thank you for joining us. To the audience.
Slush fund. That's pretty accurate.
To the audience, I say, proof's in the pudding, folks. We walk the walk. It is incredibly expensive to have a reporter, a cameraman out there, and put aside the cost for a second. It's physically and mentally draining. I mean, John Farina, our cameraman, he's got a daughter, and he's basically been away from her for the most part for over about a month. He went back for a few, not because he's a bad dad, he's a great dad, but because he sees what's happening out in the country. And he has the passion, the calling that he needs to show it through his camera. But he's costing himself time with his daughter to be out there for us, for you. JT, he's got a newborn daughter. So he's been away 4 or 5 days at a time. Thank you to his wife for allowing him. So, that's time he's not going to get back with his daughter, but he's doing it because he knows the stakes. And if we're not out there, to be clear, Yeah, there's some like streamers out there. There, as far as I know, there's no outlet, mainstream or independent, doing the kind of work we're doing. Period. Not just in Chicago, anywhere.
No, we've seen them, Jordan. We've seen them behind the lines. I know John Farina mentioned it, and we heard it from Tina Desiree Berg and JT as well. They'll show up to these places, and most of the media outlets are 200, 300, 400 feet away from anything that's happening. Status Coup reporters are going into the heart of it to catch what these people are actually doing, to film what is really happening on the ground. And that means that, yes, they're sometimes putting themselves in harm's way. It's exhausting being in the middle of it. But if you're not in the middle of it, we don't catch it. And that's part of how they control the narrative, is keeping media at that distance. So,
and by the way, when I talk to John, because I obviously talk to him on a daily basis, sometimes it sounds like he's been through fucking Fallujah. Because he has. I mean, he's being tear gassed and pepper sprayed, and they're shooting stun grenades and flashbangs, and he's still holding that camera up. It takes real guts and balls of steel, both of them.
And he covered what, 220 something, some outrageous number of anti-genocide protests too, before now covering these ICE protests. He hasn't stopped. He hasn't stopped.
The fact that this man has not won multiple awards is a crime in itself.
You're
he
right.
should have won an award for January 6th. Anyway, so we're never going to win. I'm never going to win an award for what I do, and we don't do that. We don't do this for that. We are not the people that win awards. It's the corporate puppets pretending to be journalists that win awards. Sometimes they do good work, but most of the time they're not in the trenches doing guerrilla journalism, folks. So it's on the screen, and I want you to really think about it, because there are some watching that truly do not have $5 to $10 a month for anything more. And if you fit into that category, no problem. There's no shame. It's free to subscribe, to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you anything to like the videos, comment, etc. But for those of you that might have that $5 to $10, or think about, there might be something you're spending right now that's $5 a month, $10 a month, that maybe you even forgot you were doing. You forgot that you're signed up for something that costs $5 to $10 a month that you're not even using.
Sub to a movie channel, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not crucial to your life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Redistribute that to us, because we're actually using it for journalism. And unfortunately, because of this fucked up country and also our fucked up media system, it costs money now to produce good journalism. I wish it could be free, but it's not. So thank you to all who signed up. Thank you, Zaina. We're going to be back staying on the ground in Chicago the next few days and weekend. We'll see what happens. It doesn't seem like it's going to slow down anytime soon. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jordan.